GOT7 is arguably one of the biggest groups within the K-pop industry. They consist of 7 members, which are LA-born rapper Mark Twan, charismatic leader MJ Bum or stage name JB, the all-around fun guy Jackson Wang, singer, actor, and center of the group Park Jin-young, the smiling sunshine main vocalist Chae Young-jae, the prince of Thailand himself Bam Bam, and the crazy dancer and maknae Kim Moo-kyung. In my personal opinion, I believe that GOT7 has one of the most interesting discographies in the K-pop industry. GOT7 wasn't formed like other typical K-pop groups were being formed at that time, but with the help of their fandom, Agases, or I-GOT7s, they were able to find their path within the K-pop industry and became one of the biggest K-pop groups in the world. But how did they get there? Well, let's look at their past and see what makes GOT7 GOT7. JYP Entertainment, 2012. At the height of JYP Entertainment's production of groups, they debuted the duo JJ Project, which consisted of JB and Junior, but he now goes by his birth name Jin Young. JJ Project would go on to star in Dream High 2 as actors in order to prove themselves who they are and that they're different since they have the same names as other stars in Korea. They eventually debuted with their song Bounce. Bounce charted pretty well considering it was the duo's first song, making it to number 8 on the Gaon chart. The music video surpassed 1 million views within the first 2 days of its release on YouTube. Bounce was produced by the CEO of JYP Entertainment, J.Y. Park himself, and created a new genre of music called hip-rock-tronica. The duo continued to gain popularity as the song and performance represented having a free spirit. Later on in 2013, the duo would also make an appearance on the drama When a Man Falls in Love. After making their cameo, the duo went on hiatus, and no one knew what happened to them. Well, that was until January of 2014. Also in 2013, members Mark, Jackson, Bam Bam, and Yoogyeom participated in the Mnet show When, Who Is Next, where JYP trainees and YG trainees competed to see who was more ready to debut. It was at this time that JYP made it known to the public that they are looking into debuting a new boy group. Though this was a risk for the company as their stocks were rapidly declining and the company was on the verge of bankruptcy, they ultimately still decided to debut their new boy group, but would wait a year to do so. On January 1st, 2014, JYP announced their new boy group, GOT7. GOT7 debuted on January 16, 2014 as a hip-hop group. GOT7 debuted with their album Got It, with their title track, Girls, Girls, Girls.
How you doing? Hey! Girls, 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 they love me. 나는 왜 몸이 이러는 거니? Girls, 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 they love me. 어릴 적부터 계속 죽여왔니?
The album shot to number 1 on the Billboard World Albums chart and peaked at number 2 on the Gaon Albums chart. Shortly after their debut, they signed with Sony Music Japan and had a showcase in Japan in front of 9,000 fans. JYP would go on and release GOT7's first show on YouTube called Real GOT7, where you could see the members' personality and get to know them better. They would also go on to release their first variety show, I-GOT7, where they had competitions among themselves. At the end of the variety show, the group would go on and announce their fandom name, which would be I-GOT7, or the Korean and shorter version of it being Agase, which in English translates to baby bird. Later in 2014, GOT7 would come back with their album Got Love, with title track A.
네가 날 좋아하는 게 이미 네 얼굴에 쓰여 있어. 에이, 나를 보다 왜 눈을 돌려 나는데.
For this comeback, the group opted for a more brighter and colorful image compared to the hip-hop b-boy style choreography that they showcased for their debut. In October, GOT7 held their first Japan tour, called GOT7 First Japan Tour 2014, and made their Japanese debut on October 22nd with Around the World.
Let's go, 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 let's go, go, go. 손을 내리 right now. 다시 가면 됨이
In November, they would release their first full album, Identify, with the title track 하지마 or Stop Stop It. The Identify album topped Gayeon's weekly album sales chart within the first week of its release, and Stop Stop It peaked at number 4 on Billboard's World Digital Songs chart. In January of 2015, GOT7 was awarded the New Artist Award at the 29th Golden Disc Awards and at the 24th Seoul Music Awards. This is also when GOT7 starred in their own web drama, Dream Night. The drama gathered almost 13 million hits and received the Best Drama Award, Best Director Award, and Rising Star Award at the K-Web Fest in July. In March of 2015, members Bam Bam and Jinyoung were made permanent hosts for Mnet's M Countdown up until March of 2016. In May of 2015, GOT7 embarked on their first US fan meet, GOT7 First Fan Meeting in the USA. Though they only had 3 shows, which were San Francisco, Chicago, and Dallas, they had a huge turnout, considering the group had only debuted the year prior. By GOT7 doing this, it started a trend where K-pop groups who had just debuted would go on tour in the US in order to get more exposure and to connect more with overseas fans. On June 10th, GOT7 would go on and release their second Japanese single, Love Train. Love Train debuted at number 4 on the Oricon Singles Chart. Later on in July, the group released their third EP, Just Right, on July 13, 2015, with the title track, 딱 좋아, or Just Right. The title track, Just Right, peaked at number 3 on Billboard's World Digital Songs chart, remaining in the top 3 for 2 consecutive weeks. As of January 8, 2020, the Just Right music video on YouTube has reached over 300 million views, making it the group's first music video to reach this milestone. In August, GOT7 would go on and attend their first ever K-Con. This was a big deal for the boys because this is when K-Con started to become a very prominent convention for K-pop, which gave more exposure in the United States to any group that was attending. In September, they would release their third Japanese single, Laugh Laugh Laugh. It sold over 35,000 album copies within the first week of its release, and made its debut at number 1 on the Oricon Singles Chart. Also in September, the group released their 4th EP, Mad, with the title track of 네가 하면, or If You Do. They soon followed up this release with their first repackaged album, Mad Winter Edition, in November, adding 3 additional tracks, which are 고백송, or Confession Song, 매일, or Everyday, and 이별, or Two Star. On February 3rd, 2016, GOT7 released their first full-length Japanese studio album titled 머리아갔대요. The album placed number 2 on the Oricon charts. On February 15th, 2016, GOT7 and label mate Twice were confirmed as new clothing ambassadors for NBA Style Korea. In March, GOT7 would embark on their first album series, the Flight Log Trilogy. The first album in the series, Flight Log Departure, released and it featured their title track, Fly. Let me hear you say. GOT7 became the first Korean act to chart on Billboard's Artist 100 since Psy, entering the chart at number 45. Flight Log Departure debuted at number 2 on the Billboard Heat Seekers Albums chart and on the Billboard World Albums chart. On April 12th, GOT7 digitally released Home Run, the second title track for their Flight Log Departure album, which member JYP participated in writing and composing the song. GOT7 participated in a Japanese educational TV program in the beginning of April. In NHK Educational TV's TV Hangul course, they played as Sun-Ok Kim's school students and performed humorous Hangul skits every week. They appeared in the textbooks monthly as well. They appeared regularly for 2 years up until March of 2018. GOT7 held their first solo concert Fly Tour from April 29th to the 30th in Seoul, with the tour continuing on to dates in China, Japan, Thailand, Singapore, and the United States throughout the summer. In the first half of the year, the group became brand models in Thailand for It's Skin, Softland's brand Bosch & Lomb, and Escola. For Bosch & Lomb, Mark, Bam Bam, and Jin Young starred in a short film titled Sanctuary, which was released on May 11 together with 3 other Thai actors. On September 27th, GOT7 released their second album within the Flight Log trilogy titled Flight Log Turbulence, which consisted of 13 songs, including the title track Hard Carry.
Hard carry, hey. Let it flow now. Until the time now. Hard carry, hey. Hard carry, hey. Let it flow now. Until the time now. Hard carry, hey. Hard carry, hey.
The members have contributed to the composition and lyrics of 11 tracks on the album. It sold 200,000 album copies in South Korea and debuted at number 1 on Billboard's World Albums chart, selling 2,000 copies in the United States. On November 16th, GOT7 released their first Japanese EP titled Heya. The album took 3rd place on the Oricon chart and is the first Japanese album in which members took part in writing and composing. Fly, however, charted at number 15 on the Billboard Year-End World Albums chart, making GOT7's first appearance on the chart. And they also ranked at number 6 on the Billboard Year-End World Albums Artist chart, making them the highest charting act other than BTS. In March of 2017, GOT7 released the 3rd album of the Flight Log trilogy, Flight Log Arrival, with the title track of Never Ever.
Let's go up, 우리들만의 love. Never gonna let you go. 다시 너를 떠나지 않아. 걱정하지 마, baby, you are mine. Never gonna make you cry. 다시 울리지 않아. 걱정하지 마, baby, you're mine, baby, you're mine.
The album sold over 220,000 copies in pre-orders alone, and with 310,000 sold by April 14th. It exceeded the total sales of 230,000 copies that were sold for Flight Log Turbulence. Moreover, Flight Log Arrival placed first on Gaon and Hanto's album charts in March, topping Billboard's World Albums chart as well. On May 24th, the group released a new single in Japan, My Swagger.
My swagger, no zone, my swagger. Are you me? My swagger, 까먹고 know me. 간지 baby, my swagger. My swagger, my swagger. 야바스키, my swagger.
My Swagger topped Billboard Japan's singles chart and took 2nd place on the Oricon singles chart on the day of release. In April, member Bam Bam released his single Make It Right for Yamaha Thailand's Motorcycle Cubics. On July 31st, 2017, the duo with members JB and Jin Young, known as JJ Project, would make their long-awaited 5-year comeback with their album Verse 2 with the title track Nail Owner or Tomorrow Today.
오늘도 답을 잘 모르
The EP is self-composed and self-written by JB and Jinyoung. At the same time of releasing this album, they held a photo exhibition. Verse 2 charted at number 2 on the Gaon album chart and the Billboard World Albums chart, and debuted at number 29 on the Oricon Albums chart in Japan. Between August and September, they performed at KCON LA 2017 and Inkigayo Super Concert in Daejeon. At the end of the year, Verse 2 was chosen as the 5th best K-pop album of 2017 by Billboard and was nominated in the album division at the Golden Disc Awards. JJ Project also got nominated for the Popularity Award. Later on in August of 2017, member Jackson Wang would go on and found his international recording label, Team Wang. The label's first release was Jackson's song Papillon, which made a significant impact in the Chinese music industry.
You got me feeling like a papillon. Fight it or shine like a diamond. You got me feeling like a papillon. Fight it or shine like a diamond.
But this was just the start of Team Wang, as Jackson would continue to release songs under his label when he was not promoting with GOT7. On October 10th, 2017, the group released their 7th EP titled 7 for 7 with the title track You Are.
It's a beautiful sky.
You Are is co-composed and co-written by group leader JB, and the album also features songs written and composed by the members themselves. Following the release of their album, You Are topped real-time music charts in South Korea. In November, the group released their second Japanese EP titled Turn Up.
Turn up.
Oh my god, oh dear Lord, oh, turn up, turn up, turn up, oh, turn up.
And they held a tour in Japan titled GOT7 Japan Tour 2017 Turn Up. This is the group's first album and tour in which member Jackson did not participate due to health concerns and conflicting schedules, resulting in a halt in all of his Japanese schedules with the exception of special occasions. On December 7th, GOT7 re-released their EP 7 for 7 as a holiday-themed present edition, featuring new photos of the members. Alongside the re-release of the album, the group released a performance video for their B-side Teenager.
Yeah, you make me think. You make me think. 유치해줘도 뭐 어때? We are so young. Yeah. You make me think. You make me think. 유치해줘도 뭐 어때? We are so young. 날 봐봐 널 보고 바보같이 그냥 웃어 마냥 좋아 난 너면 She makes me teenager 매일 더 날씬해져 우리 둘은 teenager ay.
Teenager was also composed by member JB. Also in December, member Bam Bam launched his clothing line Double B in collaboration with Represent. The limited edition design was sold for 2 weeks and sold 13,707 items. Proceeds went towards water.org, which provides access to safe drinking water. In the year of 2017, GOT7 was nominated for the Popularity Award at the Asia Artist Music Awards, nominated for Disc Daesang at the Golden Disc Awards, won Best World Performer and Favorite K-pop Star at the Mnet Asian Music Awards, and won the Bonsang Award at the Seoul Music Awards. Overall, GOT7 had a very eventful 2017, but things were about to change within the next year. On March 9, 2018, GOT7 was appointed Honorary Ambassador for Korea's National Fire Agency. 3 days later, the group announced their next comeback with their 8th EP, Eyes on You, with the title track of Look.
When my eyes on you, 머릿속은 비워 just for me.
Look was co-written by JB, and the other members also contributed to the other songs on the album. One track that is well known within the album is 고마워, or Thank You, which was written by member Jin Young, which is thanking Agassiz for sticking with them and for supporting them. Meanwhile, Look topped real-time charts in South Korea, becoming their most successful track on the music chart since debut. The album Eyes on You sold over 300,000 copies in South Korea and was certified platinum by Gaon Chart and the Korean Music Content Association. In April, member Bam Bam returned to Thailand for the military draft, which is how Thailand recruits their military. Bam Bam was exempted from serving due to the combined volunteer and red card recruit quota being raised in his region. This all made Agassiz happy as they didn't have to see Bam Bam join the military. Also in April, member JB appeared on the reality show Hyena on the Keyboard. The purpose of the show is to show the behind the scenes of producing a song. After the episodes with JB aired, many fans were frustrated with JYP as in the episodes it showed JYP rejecting all of the songs that JB had composed because it didn't suit JYP or GOT7 style and color. This is when fans could see that JB is a very talented artist and that JYP was definitely holding not only JB but also GOT7 back. On May 4th through the 6th, GOT7 kicked off their 2018 Eyes on You World Tour in Seoul. The tour dates continued throughout the summer, selling out shows in Asia, Europe, North America, and South America. While touring in the United States, GOT7 became the first K-pop group to perform at Brooklyn's Barclays Center. As 2018 continued on, so did their popularity. But what came of this is something a K-pop idol sadly has to deal with a lot, and that is saucing fans. For those of you who don't know what a saucing fan is, they are basically a stalker fan who don't give their idols any room to breathe and will do anything to get their attention. Those saucing fans have been apparent in GOT7's career with prior incidents happening with member Jackson, such as getting into a car accident as well as enclosing Jackson to where he can't walk or breathe. They continue to get worse. Sadly, member Youngjae was one of the main members that saucing fans targeted constantly. They started constantly messaging him on messaging app Kakao Talk. He got so desperate to have them stop that he took to his own social media to beg them to stop sending him messages. This frustrated multiple fans of the group as they felt as though the company should do something and take action against those fans. But sadly they didn't, and it surely didn't get better either. But we'll talk more about this later. Throughout May and June, GOT7 also held a tour in Japan while also being on their world tour, which was titled GOT7 Japan Fan Connecting Hall Tour 2018, The New Era. This was in support of their new Japanese single, The New Era.
Attention. Baby, what you waiting for?
The single topped the Oricon charts, placing number 1 on the daily charts and on Billboard Japan. But with the success of the group constantly growing, so were the saucing issues. Youngjae still continued having saucing fans trying to contact him and even had his personal number and other contact information leaked due to saucing fans. He then took to social media again to ask them to stop messaging him and that he was going to take some action with the company, but sadly that never happened either. On September 17th, GOT7 released their third studio album entitled Present You with the title track Lullaby. Lullaby was written and composed by JB, and it topped major real-time charts in South Korea when it was released. While promoting the album, GOT7 became the third male group to hold a comeback show on Mnet through their television channel, Facebook, and YouTube channel. The GOT7 comeback show aired 2 hours after the album was released. Present You was certified platinum by Gaon Chart on November 8, 2018, after selling over 250,000 copies. GOT7 would later in December release a repackage of the album called Present You and Me, where they released 3 new tracks including the title track Miracle. This album also included special stage songs from their past world tours, finally dropping the studio version for fans. In 2018, GOT7 would go and win Artist of the Year and Best Popular Award at the Asia Artist Awards, Disc Bonsang at the Golden Disc Awards and Seoul Music Awards, and lastly, Worldwide Fans' Choice Top 10 and TikTok Most Popular Artist at the Mnet Asia Music Awards.
널 위해 부를게 널 위해 부를게
On January 30th, 2019, GOT7 released their third Japanese extended play, I Won't Let You Go.
Give you my all I need you in my
I Won't Let You Go debuted at number 1 on the Oricon Daily Albums chart with an estimated sale of 22,948 copies, holding the position for the entire week and eventually topping the Oricon Weekly Albums chart. On the same day, member Bam Bam announced his first fan meeting tour, Black Feather, in Thailand, which took place in March. On February 13th, JYP Entertainment hinted at GOT7's second sub-unit duo, which later revealed to include members JB and Yugyeom and was named Just Two. They released their debut album Focus with the title track Focus on Me.
Now focus on me.
They also had their first tour, Just Two, Focus Premiere Showcase Tour, stopping at 7 cities in Asia. Focus debuted at number 6 on the Billboard World Albums chart, as this was also around the time where member Jin Young started taking more acting jobs, as JYP had no more excuses to give Jin Young as he was highly wanted for acting jobs. One significant drama was his main role in Psychomintori Kun Yosok, or He is Psychometric. Just Two would go on to release an OST for the drama called Take.
널 지켜줄게 지금 내 손을 잡아 누구보다 너의 맘을 잘 알아 숨겨뒀었던 내 맘 이젠 말할게 I need you 다른 그 어떤 것보다도.
In March of 2019, member Mark would go on and release his second merch collab with Represent. He sold 40,446 items, where all profits proceeded to charity. Mark would also go on to hosting his first ever solo fan meeting in China named On Your Mark, from 2019 into 2020. He instantly sold out his fan meeting tickets sold out within the first 5 minutes. In May of 2019, member Bam Bam became the spokesman of a campaign launched by UNICEF Thailand and the Ministry of Social Development and Human Society against child abuse. Also in May, GOT7 would come back with their album spinning top between security and insecurity with the title track of Eclipse.
또다시 어둠이 내 맘에 밀려와 나는 비틀거리고 우리의 꿈은 조금씩 흐려져가 그래서 나야만의 어둠이 삼키기 전에 이겨내려 몸부림쳐 중심을 잡아 너의 빛을 끝까지 잡아 Gonna win this fight.
They sold 64,148 copies on the first day and 214,125 copies within the first week of release, becoming the first group from JYP Entertainment to sell 2 million albums since debut. The EP debuted on the Billboard World Albums chart at number 5, also coming in at number 9 on Billboard's Heat Seekers Albums chart. They would then embark on their third world tour from June 15th to October 26th, titled GOT7 2019 World Tour Keep Spinning. They stopped at 12 countries, including North America, South America, Europe, Australia, and the Philippines. During its North American stop, GOT7 appeared on the Today Show on June 26th, becoming the first Korean group to perform on the show. Though the album did pretty well, the promotions that JYP had for this comeback were almost non-existent. This is because JYP didn't promote this comeback almost at all. And when JYP released the announcement for the comeback, they didn't give a direct time of when it was going to release, leaving it to the members themselves to tell fans when everything was dropping. The August hits were happy with how well the album turned out. But 2019 wasn't all sunshine and rainbows for GOT7. Member Youngjae still has sasaengs calling him and pestering him. He went on to go onto his social media to beg for them to stop again. Many fans were angry about this as they felt as though JYP is not keeping him safe and solving the problem that has been going on for years at this point. Not to mention a lot of fans weren't too happy with the way JYP has been promoting the boys. Well, to be honest, I wouldn't really call what they were doing promoting. The lack of promotions was apparent to fans, but what they didn't know is that it was just going to get worse. In July, member Jackson had his wax figure featured at Madame Tussauds in Hong Kong. This was a big thing for Jackson as it showed how popular and loved he really is in his home country of China. Also in July, GOT7 would go on to release their fourth Japanese extended play, Love Loop. The album debuted at number 2 on Oricon's daily album chart with estimated sales of 15,257 copies, rising at number 1 on August 3rd. The group held the Ara Loop tour from July 30th to August 18th. In September, additional dates for the Keep Spinning World Tour were added, indicating that they were going to continue the world tour in 2020 and stopping at 5 different Asian countries. But sadly, due to Corona, this wasn't able to happen. While the rest of GOT7 was busy in Japan, member Jackson was busy with his solo career. In September, Jackson would go on to release his first full solo album, Mirrors, with the main track being Bullet to the Heart. Jackson's Mirrors album reached number 1 on Billboard's independent music chart and reached number 32 on the Billboard 200, the highest chart debut album ever from a Chinese artist. In October, Jackson would go on and feature in 3 tracks from 88 Rising's album Head in the Clouds 2. The songs he was featured in were Tequila Sunrise, Walking, and I Love You 3002. In November, GOT7 would go on to release their 10th EP album, Call My Name, with the title track Niga Buru는 나의 이름, or You Calling My Name.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
The album sold 100,341 copies on the first day and 224,459 copies in the first week. GOT7 became the first artist from JYP Entertainment to sell over 100,000 copies on the first day. The EP debuted on the Billboard World Albums chart at number 5 and also topped the Gaon Weekly chart and the Hanto Weekly chart. At the end of the year, they won their first grand prize or Daesang at the 4th Asia Artist Awards for Performance of the Year. They also ended the year at number 4 on Billboard's year-end Social 50 Artist chart. In December, tickets were released for the Bangkok leg of Keep Spinning World Tour, and tickets sold out within 2 hours. Due to high demands, they added another show, but like I said earlier, due to COVID, this wasn't able to happen. In the beginning of January 2020, member Mark would go on and release one of his first solo songs titled Out of My Head.
Gotta get through. Out of my head. Gotta get through. Out of my head. Get you out. What will go play? You don't need what made you whole way. How do I get you off my mind? So how do I get you out of my head?
He would also go on to release another song for charity titled Never Told You. While member Mark was busy in China, member Jackson was also busy with his own solo career. In March of 2020, Jackson would go on and release his song 100 Ways.
There's 100 ways to leave a love, leave a love, leave a love. 100 ways to leave a love, leave one that you need.
100 Ways was a song that mixed Western and Chinese culture. The single became the first song by a Chinese and K-pop solo artist to debut on Mediabase's US Top 40 radio chart. There was also another member that was busy during this time, which was Jin Young. He was busy filming his newest drama, Hwa Young Yeonhwa, or When My Love Blooms, which released in April of 2020. Also in April of 2020, GOT7 would release their 11th EP album, Die, with the title track Not by the Moon. Die sold 159,098 copies of their EP on the first day and 281,791 copies in the first week, breaking their personal record for first day and first week sales. The EP also debuted on the Billboard World Albums chart at number 4. It has sold over 450,000 copies, becoming their best-selling album to date. But this comeback didn't come without Agassiz being angry with JYP. This comeback had a major lack of promotions from the agency compared to their brother and sister groups that had comebacks around the same time. GOT7 would only promote the song for 2 weeks, when typically groups would promote their songs anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks. Due to this constant mistreatment from JYP Entertainment, Agassiz raised enough money to send a truck in front of JYP in July in order to try and get their attention and show their frustrations as GOT7 is being highly mistreated. JYP Entertainment would go on and try to remove any news of this on all Korean search engine sites, as they didn't want it to damage their images. Though they succeeded with this in Korea, international fans can still see all the pictures and articles of the truck. It was around this time where member Youngjae would yet again be pestered by Sasaeng fans. But this time, instead of trying to message or call him, they would follow him and invade his privacy. Youngjae once again went onto his social media to beg them to stop following him and to leave him alone. It even got to the point to where Sasaeng fans would expose members' addresses, including Mark's family address where they reside in the States. Fans were frustrated about this, but yet the agency still didn't take any action against it. In May of 2020, member Bam Bam continued his partnership with UNICEF Thailand, taking part in its virtual concert to raise awareness and support families affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Later on in August, it was announced that member Jin Young would star in a new drama set to release in the summer of 2021. The drama's name is Devil's Judge, and it is Jin Young's first big role since he is psychometric. September comes around and member Jackson would go on to release his new song, Pretty Please.
Don't hate me, give love a chance. Don't need your heart, just need your hands. You from the start, that is long. Don't you tease me, baby,
Jackson was behind the whole planning and editing of the music video. Pretty Please would go on and peak at number 12 on the US dance charts. Member JB would go on and hold his first photo exhibition alone in October. On November 30th, GOT7 would release their 4th studio album, Breath of Love Last Piece, with a double title comeback with Breath, that was produced by Youngjae, and Last Piece, that was produced by JB.
나를 완벽하게 만들어주지 못해.
You know what? 넌 나의 마지막 희망, my answer. You're the missing last piece. You know what? 존재의 의미, 이유, 끝과 시작. The most important piece. Need your breath of love. Give me your breath of love. You can come to my circle. You're
the missing last piece. You can complete my circle, the most important last piece.
The whole album was co-composed and co-produced by all 7 members. The album peaked at number 4 on the Billboard's Heat Seekers chart and number 7 on Billboard's World Albums chart. This comeback too came with backlash from fans to JYP Entertainment, as GOT7 was only given 1 week of promotions. Fans were frustrated with the agency as this comeback was never really promoted about, and the members did all the promoting for themselves. It was at this moment August knew that when GOT7 would have to re-sign their contract with JYP in January, they probably weren't going to do that. In December, member Jackson ranked 41st on Forbes' China Celebrity 100 list. He is also the fastest Chinese artist to reach 10 million views on a Vivo video. GOT7 would go on to win Performance of the Year at the Asia Artist Awards, Disc Bonsang for album Spinning Top and Die at the Golden Disc Awards, Worldwide Fans Choice Top 10 at the Mnet Asian Music Awards, and Artist of the Year at the Fact Music Awards. In the upcoming month of January 2021, August had a feeling that GOT7 would not be re-signing with JYP Entertainment. On January 10th, the feeling was correct. JYP Entertainment announced that all 7 contracts would expire and all members would be going on their own ways. It was said that JYP actually only wanted to re-sign 5 of the 7 members, but we don't know if this is actually true or not. All members went their own ways, such as Jackson and Youngjae signing with Sublime Artist Agency, Jin Young signed with BH Entertainment, which is an acting agency. Yoongyum would sign with AOMG Entertainment, which is ran by former JYP artist Jay Park. Bam signed with Abyss Company that also has former JYP artist Sunmi. JB has still yet to sign with an agency, and Mark had returned home to California to start up his own YouTube channel. Augustes were so happy for the boys as they could finally breathe and have as much creative freedom as they want. But GOT7 made sure of one thing while leaving JYP, that they did not disband. They just left their agency, that's all. After leaving JYP Entertainment, member Jackson would go on and release his song, Alone.
Walking on alone. When they do I feel my enemy. 但我只是懂这一路上就我一个人，谁让竞争觉得有点累，已经习惯自己一个人，每次趴在地上想起来给我可怜，这一路上就我一个人，在心里觉得有点疼，已经习惯自己一个人，每次趴在地上想起来给我可怜。
Not too long after that, member Mark would also go on to release his collab with Sanjoy titled 1 in a Million.
There's only one out of a million. Only one. Oh, am I the one? Oh, I've been in the zone ever since you showed up. Only one. You know you're the one out of a million.
This is when Augustes got to really see GOT7's creativity, but what Augustes were not prepared for would be the release of their single, Encore. Encore, which was written and composed by member Jin Young, would go on and move most Augustes to tears while watching and listening to it, as it brought back memories of GOT7 and Augustes together, and how GOT7 will always be there. Encore would go on to top the iTunes songs chart in over 50 countries. Let's just say, GOT7 did that, and they're definitely not going anywhere. GOT7 is a very unique group filled with so much love and chaos at the same time. They have an unbreakable bond with their fans, though they can be savage with each other sometimes. In my opinion, JYP was definitely holding them back creatively, as I know that they have a lot up their sleeves. Nothing, and I mean nothing, can bring GOT7 down or apart. They always strive to be the best they can be for agases, but also showed that they can be vulnerable because they are human too. I believe that GOT7 is only just getting started, as they have now reached a new chapter in their lives and all of their careers. Nothing can hold them back, and they can finally show us what has been constantly denied for years. I'm excited to see what GOT7's new chapter will be like, as I will always continue to support all 7 of them, whether they're together or not. Watch out, world, because the new GOT7 is here, and you better beware.